to the Tay and Todd Washington Football Team podcast. This is your co-host Tay, and we are feeling good as we are inching our way closer and closer to September 12th against the Los Angeles Chargers. As Todd
subtle shot
mentioned before, San Diego.
Throwing shots early. Okay, all right.
Shots early. But Todd, how you feeling as we inch closer? We got a couple new things coming up. We have the remaking of the brand. We got some training camp battles that are starting to finalize. Todd, how you feeling?
I love that you always ask me that question. Yeah, it shows that you really care, Tay. I'm feeling good because it's the 17th, so we are like 25 days.
Yes,
less than 4 weeks. I mean, 3.5 weeks or so from week one. And then, like you said, starting to get some training camp things. And then you have the making the brand yesterday, which we'll talk about. So I'm feeling good. How are you feeling and where are you?
I'm doing good. I am in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee for vacation for just a couple of days. I'll be headed back early in the morning tomorrow. Try to get back before we go see this football field or the locker room and everything. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that too. I made some life moves yesterday and sold my car, which was a big move, but it's okay. Trying to get things in order, trying to make some adult grown man moves and decisions. And it's crazy. I know you're right there too.
Yeah.
So, this thing called life, but I'm doing well. I didn't realize how, I love my cars that I have. I had a Mustang, a 2018 all black. And so I liked it. I loved it, but it started having some problems. So I was getting annoyed, but then I get emotional when it comes to finality and things being over for good.
Yeah,
so when I was emptying, I was at the dealership emptying it out. And then I was saying my last goodbye, last time I'm in this car. And I started getting emotional. And I was like, is that just me? I need to know if I'm the only one. I think other people do too, because we use our cars a lot. You kind of get attached to them. But so that was my emotion for them. It's definitely a first world problem. So we probably shouldn't talk about it too much. But okay, let's talk some football. As always, brought to you by Hot Chikn Kitchn. If you're coming to a game this year, I know some people who are fans out of town who we know talk to, Dame being one of them from Dame's Drop Back coming in town. Stop at Hot Chikn Kitchn in Woodbridge. Go out the way, go there, try it, and enjoy it. And then get your credit fixed through Dun Pro Financial. Get your credit score right so you don't have to worry about anything when you want to buy a house, buy a car, get a business loan, whatever it may be. So let's talk football. First of all, the roster is down to 85. I have to pull up to make sure I get these names right because the names of the players they cut, other than Kelvin Harmon. So they released Kelvin Harmon, Lamar Miller, Chris Miller, running back, and then released tight end Nick Gugamos and cornerback Greg Stroman. So they're at 85. They'll have another round of cuts, I believe, on the 24th to get to 80, and then on the 31st to get to 53. Kelvin Harmon being cut as the first round surprising to you or no?
No, I just wish he had a better shot. Obviously, with Montez at quarterback, I think with Kyle Allen, I think it was inevitable. He was going to get cut regardless. I think we're just too stacked at the receiver spot. However, I would have liked to see him get one more shot at it, one more crack at it. They probably could have released someone else, but hey, they're giving him the benefit of the doubt to try to latch on somewhere else.
Right.
And you got to respect Ron for that.
Yeah, it seems like maybe an early release so he can have that chance elsewhere. And I mean, it kind of clears up, honestly, the wide receiver battle in this sense that for a fact one of Isaiah Wright, Steven Sims, Dax Milne, or Carter is going to be on the roster because they are the punt returners. So that one of them is going to be on there. Let's look at AGG. He's on there if they keep 7. If they don't keep 7, he's not on there. Practice squad, probably if they keep 6. The other interesting one was Lamar Miller. And was that a result of Jaret Patterson's performance on Thursday night? It kind of seems like it was.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like go ahead.
Yeah, I would think so as well. I just think because of the same situation as Harmon, they weren't going to be able to give him that opportunity to shine. So it's that now those snaps are going to Patterson. So
right, which is exactly. I mean, because you still got Jonathan Williams and so, but he's probably part of the Steven Montez group. Kyle Allen is back practicing, hopefully playing, but I think Jaret Patterson will get a decent amount of snaps this week. I think Ron Rivera said he's been doing that. We expected it from him, but they just needed to see it. And when they saw it, they're like, okay, so Jaret Patterson's chances of making the roster going up for me. It's going to be, I think, dependent on receivers. And then Tamarick Hemingway, who had just a terrible first preseason game, is out with a concussion, has been missing practice with a concussion. Curious to see where he ends up. That tight end room is interesting because it's like water. It keeps changing. Thought it was kind of Hemingway leading the way, then maybe kind of Seals Jones. But if Samus Reyes continues to show the aggression blocking, I think from a tight end 3, you want someone who's a better blocker more than anything, right? You
sure.
definitely don't want a tight end 3 who can't block at all.
Yeah.
And Tamar Hemingway was terrible in that regard. So Friday is going to be big. You want to just give me the main things you'll be watching for, or maybe not the main things, but 2 things or players you'll be watching for on Friday?
Yeah, I would say Jamin Davis. I want to see less thinking, more running around and getting
Mm-hmm.
after it. And then also, I want to see these corners. I want to see Apke. I want to see McTire. I want to see who elevates himself out the group. Danny Johnson. I don't know if Apke's going to make the roster, but I like how he's developing as the corner. You see, in the last couple of days, he's had a couple of picks in practice, whether they're overthrown. He still caught the ball, so there's still interceptions.
Right.
So I'm interested to see if that carries over to maybe against the Bengals or week 3 in the preseason and see if he can kind of solidify that spot. Same with McTire. Those 2 guys have been playing lights out in training camp, and you've heard nothing but good things. I mean, you haven't heard bad things like previous years where Apke, I mean, I remember the one off season where Apke had a heck of an off season.
Last year,
and we thought he was going to be the free safety. But those 2 guys and Jamin Davis are 2 people who 3 people that I'm looking forward and watching closely as far as taking that next step. Jamin Davis solidifying himself as the middle linebacker, and then McTire and Apke solidifying their roles and overtaking Danny Johnson possibly for that 4th, 5th cornerback spot.
Right. Okay. Those are good. It's like our nature for you to go defense and then for me to go offense.
Yeah.
It's perfect. The perfect balance. I'll say I gotta again go with my guy Antonio Gandy-Golden. Like you said, with Kelvin Harmon and those guys who played with Montez, it was really tough for them to get any opportunities. Now Antonio Gandy-Golden did have his one opportunity. He's got to come down with that ball. He just has to come down with that ball. But if Kyle Allen is back, then I think him, and then I mean the Wrights and the Dax Milnes and those guys will get legit opportunities, and he's got to capitalize on those opportunities. Sadiq Charles is another name I want to watch, for just to be able to be on the field, but to kind of just see how he holds his own. And then the third one is not offense; it's Dustin Hopkins. It's the whole operation, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it's something small, but John Kahn was talking about it, and essentially the timing of the snap and the hold and the kick, that should apparently be down in the first couple of weeks of camp. They should have that all figured out. Cheeseman was not snapping poorly on Thursday. Dustin Hopkins was missing those kicks, and maybe he's still getting used to a new rhythm. But I'm going to be watching Dustin Hopkins very closely, because if the missing continues, I don't know how you can go into the season feeling comfortable with that. So I think those are my main 3: Antonio Gandy-Golden, Sadiq Charles. He's been playing some tackles. Just see how he holds up at whatever position he plays in the line, and then Dustin Hopkins. So now I guess that's all the team stuff at the moment. I don't know. Do you want to talk about anything we've seen from camp these last couple of days since then?
I just want the crowd that's been saying that, Washington, looking at the schedule this year, one thing I've noticed and just looking at this past week was just saying how, we were 7-9 last year. I mean, and played below 500 majority of the year, but a lot of those games were very big games, and they had very big weight to them. They were all meaningful games, whether we were under 500 or 5 games under 500. A lot of those games were when are you in, or when and you separate yourself, and those were some big games. And I think about this year and how that stuff is just translating to, they're not going to be afraid of the moment, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whether it's Tom Brady, whoever it may be. I mean, they played those guys. Right. I mean, the Tom Brady in the playoffs, and they played them tough. So they're going to be battle tested. And then on top of that, I just love the fact that Ron Rivera had these guys practicing in the rain. It just shows that, that old culture is starting to move its way out. And that new culture with the Chase Youngs and the Jonathan Allens is starting to move in. So now this is going to be the normal. This is going to be natural, and this is going to be the standard for Washington football team. So I'm just happy how everything's progressing. And for those who are complaining about practicing in the rain, that's football. That's
Yeah.
football. We don't want no soft guys who are
Right.
dropping footballs in the rain. And I mean, Ron Rivera is a football coach, and I won't even touch on the glove situation because that's just mind boggling how
Oh no,
people
no,
can
no.
do
We're not
that.
gonna
But
talk. We're not gonna talk about
I'm
that.
not going to do that. I would love to, but I'm not going to do that. But I'm not going to do that. I want to touch on that so bad, but I'm not going to do that. But
Don't do it. Don't
anyways,
do it.
um, anyways, yeah. So I just love the culture, and I just love the fact that this team is battle tested, and I don't think any moment will be bigger than what they can handle this year. Especially, I mean, we went into
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, knocked out Pittsburgh on national television,
Yeah.
and I think that's when the season changed. So that's just what I'm observing, just how the standard has been set and the culture is in motion. And
Yeah.
by next year you'll have a whole new that's Ron's team. You know,
Right. Right. Right.
it's
Right.
you know, so
I
that's all
agree.
I
I
had to
mean,
say.
that's a really good point because you look at last year, a lot of the games, a lot of them, like you mentioned, the ones that they won, but some of the ones they even lost, they battled back,
Yeah,
right? I mean, that Giants game where Kyle Allen got hurt
yeah,
and Alex Smith came in, the Lions game, they were down, I
yeah,
think 21 or 24 or 27-3, something like that. And they battled back. They showed resilience for sure last year.
for
They
sure.
just really they were lacking in terms of talent and in terms of just cohesion and team and whatnot, and being able to seal some of those things. But they're establishing a mentality, which is a very good point. They definitely
For
are,
sure.
where they're never out of it. And yeah, one more off season, and it is definitely Ron's team. You know, that
Yeah.
roster is overhauled. So that's a really good point. And then practicing in the rain, one thing that really stuck out was Ron said the field was great. And the
Yes.
beat reporters and everyone said that there was no slipping, and that's
Yeah.
big too. And I'm expecting that same thing at FedEx Field, and that's
Yeah.
major. In the past, go in that bubble, walk through because you can't really practice. It's only one field, but if you practicing in the rain is good because you're going to play in
Exactly.
the rain, but you can actually practice in the rain because you spent all this money to upgrade the fields, and now they're working. So that's yeah, I do like that for sure. Curtis Samuel is the one thing I wanted to touch on. He's off the pup. He is off the COVID list, and he is actually able to practice now. But they take their time bringing these players back, and I like that.
I love it.
I
Love
think
it.
Curtis Samuel, B. Mitch talked about it, said he could have played if he needed to, or could play if he needed to. But I like that they slowly ramped them up yesterday because it was raining. They were practicing in the rain. They didn't want to take any chances. And then today they're ramping him back up. I think it's still a little slick maybe. But I do like that they ramp players up. The same thing with Matt Ioannidis, get him back in slowly because I mean there really is no rush, right?
It's no rush. No rush.
And that groin injury is soft tissue. You want to take your time with that. I like the way that this organization is handling things, and something I tweeted out yesterday was I love the emphasis that is put on playing young players early and often.
Mm-hmm.
It just
Mm-hmm.
feels like in the past with Mike Shanahan and with Jay Gruden, obviously young players played, but it wasn't a point of emphasis. It's bringing these veterans or the older players play, the rookies don't play much. Some coaches kind of it's different methodologies, but I'm always a big fan of bringing in young players and then letting them play and getting their bumps out and figuring out whether they have it or not. And if they don't have it, okay, they don't, but you're never going to find out until they play. So I love that.
Exactly.
That's one of my favorite things about this staff for sure. The fact that Benjamin St. Juste is going to be a key contributor. He's going to start outside in nickel.
Yes.
The fact that De'Ami Brown is going to be a big contributor. That Sam Cosmi,
Yes.
you moved on from Morgan Moses, going to play him right away. Jamin Davis, you got him at the mic. I just
Yeah.
love that. I love that so much. I've wanted that for so long.
I love it.
So okay, we've covered everything I want to talk about football wise. How about for you?
Yeah, I think
Okay. All right, so now we need to talk some house cleaning, some making the brand, some name stuff, but some kind of real name stuff. So if you've watched the Making the Brand that the Washington football team posted on their YouTube and Twitter, then you kind of know what we're talking about. If you haven't, go check it out. I recommend it. But essentially, I don't really want to talk about how much time I spent doing this, and I know I'm not the only one who did this. But with the utmost confidence, they posted it on YouTube. Obviously, blurred it out at the end. They posted it on Instagram, and I don't know what they did. They did something different with the blurring, and you can see, you can make out syllables, you can count syllables, you can kind of get an idea based on the context clues of the names we know are in contention, what is being said. So if we had no idea, then there'd be no way to know. But we know what's out there. We know it's floating, and so with a lot of confidence. I feel very confident. You don't have to believe me. That's fine. I'm not offended if you don't believe me. Go on Instagram, watch the clip for yourself. But Commanders, Wolves, and Redtails, I'm honestly 100% confident are those three names that were said as the three that are going through. If they were toying with us, well, that's another thing. And so, anything's possible. But that's what Jason Wright said. I'm confident of that. Wolves, I'm the most confident of. You could clearly tell that Wolves is what he said. So Commanders, Wolves, and Redtails, by all account, Tay appears to be the three options left for names. So let's go through them. Quickly. It doesn't have to be anything long, but let's talk about them. Now, I know what our personal preference is. It's Wolves, but we can speak about it from an unbiased perspective. So let's start with Commanders. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the name Washington Commanders.
I'm not against it. I haven't done much research. Maybe you could tell me more about it because that's not one of my options. But it has a nice ring to it. Washington Commanders play the
Cowboys. Commanders play the
Cowboys. Commanders play the Eagles. Commanders play the Giants. However, that's not my first choice. I think it's a pretty good choice. I know we use it this week on a Twitter handle,
on
an episode and a Twitter handle, and it didn't sound bad. It just sounds kind of like it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like in the middle. It's not bad and it's not great, but it's just like, okay,
it's perfectly just medium.
Yeah,
just
neutral.
That's a good word. Yeah,
neutral. So like I said, I wouldn't mind it. It could be worse.
Yeah, I agree. Like you said, we used it on Twitter. If you watched the last episode, then you saw us use it and try to get a feel for it, which I want us to kind of do again with this new information and use a logo too. Just grab the logo they used and really just and then try to intentionally use it as much throughout the episode. I want to do that again with at least Wolves and Commanders. But the name Commanders, I think for me, I feel pretty much the same way. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't think it's the type of name that you love. It's a general name. It's right. It's not like Redtails is talking about a bird, and we'll get to that. It's not the Tuskegee Airmen. It would refer to a bird. Wolves is the wolf, but Commanders is kind of general. It's like just a commander, a boss, I guess, in the military, or the president, commander in chief, which I know people have said. No, one thing, some people have been saying that, and they've been saying commander and chief. It is commander in chief. Now, sure, but what does that mean? How do you use that? Right, commander in chief. The president, he lives in the White House. The White House is in DC. He is the commander in chief. The commander's commander in chief. I see what you're saying, but how does it connect? How do you use it in the football sense? It's just a thing. It doesn't really connect in any kind of way, right? You say Chase Young is the commander in chief. Okay.
Right.
That's kind of lame, but I guess howling is lame too. But I mean, there's a fun element to that. I don't know.
Right.
Also, another thing for Commanders with me is I guess Commanders really specifically, you're whether intentionally or not, you're talking military. Like you have to be. That name at the end that Jason and Ron both said they loved, in my opinion, is Commanders. And I expect Ron Rivera to love that because he's clearly very fond of the military. I will say, I don't think you want to go overly military themed with your name. I don't think there's any reason to go overly themed with any group of people or any organization. I just don't think it's necessary at all. Right. Just to be safe, because look, you don't know 50 years down the road, you don't know, maybe people will have a problem with the military. You just, because people are not going to have a problem with an animal, but with you just don't know these sort of things. And so
one quick thing before you go, would you say that if they were to do that, would they have like a military themed jersey?
See, I mean, and now that could be cool, but I don't know, because I don't know how that works, because then you're getting into like the legal stuff. You have to get permission. I don't know. It could be cool, but then does Army and Navy, do they have a problem with it?
Yeah.
But I mean, that is a cool idea. And I'm not saying that if you're the Commanders that you can't do anything military related. I'm just saying I don't think you want to go overly 100% on that. I think Commanders is, in my mind now, it's just a name. It doesn't come with anything extra. Now they'll provide a logo. I'm sure it'll be good, and branding and all that, and it can be cool. But it's neutral to me. Don't hate it, don't love it. And I think the response would generally be that, like, okay, I think it'd be that okay,
Mhm.
okay, all right, Commanders, okay, I can get used to that, right? So neither of us love Commanders, but I can see how it makes sense, and I absolutely wouldn't hate it. Um, the next option, then we'll just do in the order of what he said from what I can see, was Wolves. And now Wolves is obviously the hottest one. I mean, Wolves is by accounts on social media is the fan favorite. Now it's impossible for us to know what all the people who are not on social media like. There's definitely a group who do. And I think with Wolves, it's not just a younger crowd. I think that tends to be what stands out. I do think there is support in the older as well. I think Wolves stands out for me because it's the most fun option.
Mhm.
It's the most fun and cool, I would say. Like Commanders, I wouldn't say it's fun or cool. I could see how it's like fine and how it works. To me, Wolves is kind of fun and cool, and it comes with its own sort of things around the traits and characteristics of the animal.
Mhm.
And I think that's what kind of makes it like there is a reason why the name Wolves has done so well on social media. And if you want to say among the younger crowd, there's a reason for that. And it's
Mhm.
because of wolves and the animals that they
Mhm.
are and their characteristics. Right. And I think where I've kind of stood on it is always I don't care about if it's linked to the city. I don't care about it tying to the past so much. It needs to work for now and for the future, and it needs to be something that is received well, and that's something that is cool, and a logo that is cool, and a logo can be cool with anything. But I think in terms of if we're talking fun and cool, that's wolves, and that's why it's done so well because it's fun and it's cool, and everybody loves wolf animals.
Mhm.
That's I guess those are my thoughts on
Yeah.
on wolves.
For me, growing up, I love the concept of like wolves and lions
Yeah,
and
right.
so a
Those
wolf
everyone loves
like
those animals.
yes, yes. Like
Yeah.
even at one point, I wanted a wolf mixed with a wolf mixed with what is it, a Rottweiler or a German Shepherd, like just to have
That
that
man,
meanness,
yes,
like
that
that. Oh
yes,
my goodness, like
that's
that
whew. No one's breaking
So
into your house if you got that.
nobody's. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. So so I think wolves. If they go wolves, man, and I've seen some of a couple of the designs, man, I think I'll be first in line to buy all perch
right. And
merchandise.
that's the same for me. Right.
Like
I
I'm going crazy.
me too. I think that's the thing. It makes it easy. Like these people get paid a lot of money. They can put something together well for any name. But it seems that with wolves it will come easier.
Oh
And I
man, it would.
also I believe that again with the commanders, I think there are people who will like it and people who will be happy with it and fine with it. But I think the only name where you'll get an excited response from however large, but from a decent sized portion of the fan base is with the name Wolves. I think
Yeah.
that's the only name where you get a legit excited. Where if say if
Hmm.
you're at the stadium and you announce it, where you get a lot of cheers, people are gonna hate it, sure, but
Yeah.
you'll have the people who hate it, but then you have the people who love it,
Right.
and that's the name that has the loudest voice of supporters who love it, who are all in. I mean, it's almost like a cult, but
Yeah.
whereas every other name has people who aren't supportive of it. This is one where it's people will get very excited and stuff will get sold out fast, like you just said, and I
Yeah.
think it will just come easy. And I think you don't have to think too hard about doing this or doing that or how ideas for branding or for what. I think it just
Come
comes with the
together.
animal. It comes with, and
Yeah.
not every animal
Yeah.
has that. Um,
Exactly.
I just think that it works, and also that the fact that they're not represented in the NFL is also cool
Exactly.
too.
Huge. That's
I think
huge,
that
man. Yeah, that's
matters.
what I'm saying. That's what like it just fits this team. It just
It
fits what
does.
Ron's building. It
Mhm.
fits like that how they all run to the ball and how they
I
it's
mean, and
just
that's it. Just gets so easy, and you could say it's corny. I won't fight you on saying that it's corny, but everything with sports is corny.
yeah, everything, yeah, everything.
I mean, the
But
Hoggets wore like Rio said on his show, Rambling with Rio. The Hoggets wore dresses and pig noses.
yeah,
That's corny, but it's
that is corny.
sports. Nobody
It's
cares.
sports. Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, the howling would be so cheesy, but people would love it.
People will love it.
People would love
Stadium
it.
would be oh my goodness.
Insane.
Can
And
you just
I mean, there would be, I know Kyle from the Burgundy Zone, he hates the howling. You know who else would hate the howling? Fans of opposing teams. They would hate the
yes.
howling. And
Yes.
people love to annoy fans of opposing teams, even if it makes them
Yes.
look crazy and silly.
Yes.
And those are the kind of things that come with it automatically. Any name can become a brand. Wolves can be, I think it is a brand in of itself. You don't have to figure out how to make it that it already
Right.
is. And I really
And then
feel like,
even in your theme song, you could throw a howl in the theme song. Like,
yeah. There's endless things you can do. And that's really why I think it's done so well among the fan base, is because it's just an animal that people like, and it's one of those animals that has some really strong characteristic
yeah,
traits that also work really well with sports, team sports.
yeah.
So yeah, I wolves is
Can you
definitely
imagine? Can you imagine like the release like of a video with like wolves, like they're just
right.
showing
Yeah,
wolves and oh my goodness, oh
yeah,
my goodness,
exactly.
bro.
And again, they can do that with all these things, but I just think it's so easy with wolves. I think it's just it's smooth. It's a smooth transition. And here's another thing I'll
For sure.
say, and I'll say this for the next one. We'll go into Red Tails right now, but Wolves, Commanders. Okay, so there's this thing about the military and names, right? I think a lot of that really does stem from Ron Rivera and him having, I guess, just very military inclined. But well, first of all, DC is not a military city. DC is a government city. It's
Hmm.
right now government and military. Sure, they are part of the same type of world and arena, but they're not the same thing. DC is more political than military,
Hmm.
um, and so the name Wolves does not tie into DC. I'm not going to argue about the whole Red Wolves in DC and their Red Wolf military helicopter unit. No, it doesn't work. There's no ties. Okay, that's fine. There's no ties.
Hmm.
But with the Commanders does not inherently tie into DC either. Just because it would be military related doesn't mean it ties into the city. For it to
Hmm.
tie into DC is really presidents, monuments, Jeffersons, capitals, nationals, or go-go or mumbos, something like that.
Hmm.
Commanders does not tie into DC. It's military, and so people just kind of make that connection. But DC is not a military city. So I just kind of want. So in my opinion, Wolves and Commanders neither connects more to DC than the other. I think that
Right.
we're just giving up the DC city connection, and that's fine. You can make a logo that fits in. You can put the monument like they did. You can, with the wolf, put the DC symbol. You can do a W, whatever. But I wanted to say that, and then that'll lead us into Red Tails, which also it does not connect to DC. It just doesn't,
Hmm.
right? It's not the bird of Virginia or
Hmm.
Maryland or DC. Red Tails. Now, the first thing is not the Tuskegee Airmen. Obviously, that's a name for them, but you're not going to go from a Native American person to Black people. You just
Hmm.
stay away from any
Hmm.
people groups, from organizations. Stay away from it, and they're going
Hmm.
to. And I know a while back, I think Black Lives Matter had said they would have an issue with that. So it'd be a bird. Red tails as the bird. Uh, it's kind of just okay. Birds are well represented in the NFL, so I don't love that. Um, and I don't hate Red Tails as the bird, but also I think if you do Red Tails as the bird, so many people are going to say, why didn't you do the Tuskegee Airmen? Well, you can't do the Tuskegee Airmen. Well, why not? And it's just an unnecessary conversation. So of the three, I think Red Tails is probably in third place and least likely. I just
Hmm.
You can go ahead and say what you think on Red Tails.
Yeah, red tails. I won't belabor on it much, but I would say that I like the aspect of like the three airplanes with like the things in the I like that concept of
If it
design, but
was an
for as a
airplane
bird,
concept,
yeah,
yeah,
if it was an
right.
airplane,
I think that would be
but if
better, but
yeah, but if for a bird, I'm definitely no, I'm mm-mm.
yeah, I mean, and like you said, the airplane thing would probably be better, but they just can't do that. And
Right.
I mean, the good things about Red Tails are you can keep the HTTR.
Yep.
You can just make some small changes to the fight song, and you can keep that,
Hmm.
and you keep the two syllables. Let's go Red Tails, whatever. But I don't think I don't think there's a lot of love out there for Red Tails, and I think the
No,
love
not
that
at all.
does exist, it's around it being the Tuskegee Airmen. If you were to take that away and it's just a bird, then you're really only doing it because of the red skins, and you're keeping that red.
Exactly.
It's the only reason. And so Red Tails, I think, is the least likely. Maybe we'll do a Red Tails week just to be thorough. I
Hmm.
guess it can never hurt to be thorough, but I just I of the three, I think it's the least. I'd take Commanders over Redtails. I think there's more unique about Commanders as well than there is about Redtails for this team specifically. And I've never loved the way that it sounds, Redtails. Even when it was back in last July when he was being talked about, I've never loved the way it sounds. It just sounds kind of weird to me. So I guess those are our thoughts on our three names and where we stand. We'll find out in, I guess, once the season's over. The season's going to go by fast. I hate to say it, but it will. But at least we have that to look forward to. And I really do believe it's down to Wolves and Commanders. I just think it is. It's not Red Wolves out. Sentinels, I really believe it's down to Wolves, Commanders. I believe that Ron and Jason were saying they like Commanders, but there's a lot of things at play here. And so I'm just excited to find out what it is.
Yeah. I'm excited too. I can't wait.
So if it's Commanders, you're not going to be so eager to drop merchandise, or does it more depend on how it looks?
It depends on how it looks. For Commanders, it depends on how it looks.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm not lacking confidence that they will get it right. I do believe that if they go Commanders or Wolves, just in terms of design, logo, branding, jersey, I'm confident they will get that stuff right. Mm-hmm. So, but I think in my mind with Wolves, I can see all these different ways it can be right.
Exactly.
With Commanders, I see less ways that it can be done in a way that is really, really cool. I mean, you slap a wolf on a slap a wolf, paint it burgundy and gold, and lots of people are gonna love it. With Commanders, exactly. I think you have to be, because what is a Commander logo, right? Now that one that they showed is cool. That's cool what they came up with. The shield with the monument. Yes.
I like that. I did like that.
Right. But we wouldn't have thought of that if you told me Commanders off the top of my head. If you said a logo for Commanders, I would have said a C, maybe in a circle, like the W, or not a person. Again, we're not doing people. So that would have been tough for me to figure out. I like where they started with the shield, but with Wolves, again, slap a wolf on there, paint that thing burgundy and gold. People are going to love it. If it's howling, if it's growling, if it's looking straight at you, right? Yep. Like if it's a claw, I don't think the claw or the paw really works. And I think with Wolves, you could have a W. Like if you don't want to do a wolf face and you went with a W, I think that works too.
Exactly. But, that works too.
Right. But I can see that Commanders logo. And then if you come out with some black jerseys or some gray jerseys, and, you make the jersey look updated and cool, it can be done right across the board. So I'm not worried about it. I'm okay with either, but I would be very excited about Wolves just because I think it could be really cool for the fan base.
So would you say that if you did go Wolves, there'll be a red and gold, white and gold, well, burgundy and gold, white and gold, gray and gold, and black and gold?
See, I think my preference would be, first of all, if they went with all one color uniforms. I don't think that'll happen. So I think it would go, like you said, burgundy and gold, white and burgundy, and then.
Or do you do gray and burgundy instead of white and burgundy?
I think for gray, I would love to see gray and black all black, all gray, and then mix up the burgundy, gold, and white. Personally. Gold. When I say gray, I kind of see like what the Lions have when they go all gray.
Yeah.
And then all black, like what the Saints will do. That's kind of what I see in my head. What do you see?
Yeah, I was saying burgundy and gold, white and burgundy, or gray and burgundy, and then a black and burgundy maybe.
Okay, I have to try to imagine that. I would love if they had all burgundy, all gold, all white, all gray, and all black. If those were their uniforms,
that'd be nice.
That's what I would love. But I don't think that'll happen. Nice. But I think the chances of getting an all black alternate are real. I think that's real.
Really?
I think that's real. Yeah. I think that yeah, because I think that they are going to service the fans as much as they can.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing right after the Super Bowl. I'm guessing the couple weeks after the Super Bowl ends is when we find out. Some people like George Carmi said he thinks it'll be that week in between the Super Bowl and the after, I guess, that Pro Bowl week around then. I could see either. I think it'll be a little bit after though. But yeah, I think February. I think by the end of February. Well, no. And my question is, how are they going to do? Are they going to bring fans into FedEx? Right, taking a risk, but if they're confident that they've got something good, then they'll feel comfortable announcing it in front of everybody live, because it's a lot of pressure. Because if they don't like it, you're going to know immediately.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's how you do it. I think you bring everybody to FedEx and you have a show, make a spectacle of it. You know you got it right, and then you go talk about the history, talk about the past, and then boom, bring up the new logo. And if it's that logo they have of the shield, I'd love to see some black in there. There's some black in there somewhere, or something. You know, bring that logo up and then have a video ready, and it'll be exciting. If you do the energy, people, if you bring the energy, people will match that. Do the laser show again, do the fireworks again. People will care less about the name. They're just going to be amped up on the energy. So I'm excited, Dave. I'm excited, and I'm glad that it's two names that I'm cool with either way. But I prefer Wolves. I've been working on my how. All right, Tay. Well, I appreciate your time during vacation. I hope you enjoy the rest of your vacation. We'll be watching along on Friday. Playing his Bengals. Joe Burrow's not playing. Good for him, because I want him to get his mind back, but he's not back yet, and he doesn't need to be in front of Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Deron Payne, and John Allen again, the guys who hurt him when he's trying to get back in. So, and also Washington was the team who sat the least amount of players first preseason game with 6. The most was, I think, the Rams with 38. So I figured that's something you would like. Did you see that?
Oh, what happened?
Washington sat the least amount of players week 1 of the preseason. So they played their starters the most. They only sat 6 players, whereas other teams were sitting, like the Rams, other teams sat 38 or a lot of players. So Ron was playing pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
I figured that's something I knew you'd love that.
I love that. I mean, I think the more scared you are, I mean, the more, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I mean, that's just my thing.
Exactly. You got to play. Don't play them the whole game.
Be smart. Be smart about it. But
exactly,
I love that. I love it. Just playing the Chargers. I can't wait. They're gonna be. I can't wait.
Yeah, they're the one of those teams
taking a risk.
Starters. Yeah,
they're taking a risk because they're gonna be getting hit for the first time, and then going up against this D line. It's not what you want.
I want to do a series leading up to the games, and maybe it'll be film breakdown, or maybe somehow, but showing how to beat the teams that we're playing based on how other teams have done it. Last year, watching the Patriots beat them 45-0 and seeing how they did that. And I want to see Washington apply some of those same things. So closer to week 1, I'll do that video and just kind of show you how the Patriots did it. And if Washington can do those same things, it basically starts with the D-line just getting after it. So, I had thought of something and I forgot it. So it's probably not very important. So enjoy the rest of your trip. Drive safe, getting back, and we will talk again later this week. This is Todd.
This is Tay.
Thank you for watching.